Welcome to A Taste of Country. Lucia Butler here in the hot seat, and I'm doing an interview today with Father John Buckley. Father John, welcome.
Thank you very much, Lucia.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. You're a native of County Cork?
Well, I'm a native of County Cork, just outside Macroom, which is very much the hub of Mid Cork. So I was born and brought up in that particular area. In terms of my professional life, I suppose, I decided to go into the priesthood way back in 1971. I was ordained a priest in 1977 for the Diocese of Westminster, and I have ministered in the Diocese of Westminster from 1977 up to this present moment in a variety of parishes, mainly in central London, West London and North London.
Now tell me, I'm just going to ask you a question there. Would that have been a difficult choice to go into the priesthood?
Of course, but I mean, at the time I went into the priesthood, it was the consequence of some thought and deliberation. I remember being at a kind of crossroads at the time, deciding what to do with my life. And eventually I came up with the notion of priesthood as a way of spending my life purposefully, because it involved the service of God and the service of people. And I thought that was a commendable way of spending my life.
And tell me, in your family, how many siblings would you have had?
I have two sisters who are twins. They're a year younger than me, and a younger brother who was a year younger than them. So there were four of us in the family.
Okay, so you are currently, and I must stress this, you are a listener of Irish Country Music Radio.
Absolutely. I mean, I've always been interested in radio, and particularly in music. And of course, I suppose being very typically Irish, I've always been interested in country and Western music. Though my interest in music is somewhat broader than that. It encompasses pop music and rock music. But I suppose you always go back to your sort of basic interest and the interest that you were brought up with, and that was country and Western Irish music, yes.
And so when you're up there on the altar, do you ever feel like blasting into tune from the altar?
I'm afraid not. Despite my interest in music, I and my ability to follow music and all the rest of it, I have got no ability whatsoever in terms of being able to sing or dance or whatever. That would not be my forte. But I still have a very great interest in music, yes.
Okay, so you have a fond love for music. Also, I note that you have a fond love for the GAA.
Yes. Well, that started, I suppose, because of my own particular interest in Gaelic football. I was brought up in that tradition. And I loved football from the outset, and loved playing football as a young boy when I was at school. Unfortunately, I didn't continue to play because of an injury that I sustained when I was 14 years of age.
That must have been very tough on you to sustain.
That was a disappointing experience. It certainly had it marked my football career, so to speak, which in fact turned out to be a non-career. But having said that, I've always maintained an interest in sport in general, and in Gaelic football in particular.
Very good, very good. So going back then to the priesthood, you're based over here in London. Can you just name maybe the parishes over the past maybe 25 years?
Yes, I can go back slightly further than that. I had 3 curacies at least, if not 4, before I was appointed as parish priest of the Harrow Road in the Paddington area, where I spent 10 years as parish priest. Then I spent 18 years as parish priest in Tottenham, St. Francis de Sales, Tottenham, just across the road from the Sports Football Stadium. And over the last 6 years, I've been parish priest at St. Agnes Church, Cricklewood.
Well, at St. Agnes' Church in Cricklewood, there would have been, I suppose, years ago down Kilburn, and Cricklewood would be well known for the Irish people. It's probably eased off a little bit, but we still have a lot of the Irish community around still.
Yes, what you say is absolutely true. I mean, it was a central locale for Irish people, Cricklewood and Kilburn. In fact, Cricklewood sort of grew out of Kilburn. When Kilburn became full up with the Irish, they moved into Cricklewood. So that was the tradition, certainly in the 50s and the 60s. Obviously, numbers now are very much reduced, and the Irish are getting older, and a lot of other ethnic groups have moved in as well. So it's a slightly more cosmopolitan reality now.
Okay, so equal opportunities implemented here all round. But the way you spread the word of the gospel, how about that you spread the word of Irish Country Music Radio?
Well, I happen to know one or two people who are involved in that area, and I follow it myself, and just in ordinary sort of conversation around the place, mention it to people and just spread the gospel of Irish country music in that way.
Thank you very much. That is so much appreciated. Well, I'm going to wrap this up because we're kind of stuck for time. But Father John Buckley in Cricklewood, if you anyone out there that would like to get married or have christenings or anything, don't forget, head up there to Cricklewood. Father John Buckley, they're Cork native. I'm sure you'll be more than obliging to help each and every one of them.
Absolutely. I mean, being a priest, I suppose, is about being available, being of service to people, particularly in times of need, and also, of course, in times of celebration as well. It's about being available for people right across a wide spectrum of need and celebration.
Well, I have to say, speaking on behalf of the London Wexford Association, being the chairperson of that right now, it is always great to give you an invite to come along. And recently we had an outing where you done the blessing, and a lot of the people on the bus really enjoyed that, because I suppose that's part of it, a blessing before we head off on a journey up the road. Much enjoyed by the Wexford people and the Irish community here in London. But in all fairness, thank you so much for all you do. We do, and I know, invite you to our functions. And of course, we have a function coming up. We have the Platinum Jubilee coming up there of the Wexford Association being 70 years. So put that date in your diary there, the 20th of April next year. Please God, you'll be able to attend as well as a guest.
Well, thank you for all of that, Lucy. Thank you for having me. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you very much.
Okay, so all I say is to wrap up the interview, Father John Buckley, please continue to listen to us on the radio and enjoy the music from irishcountrymusicradio.com.
Thank you, Lucy. My listening is assured. Thank you very much.
Thank you. God bless.